The storm over Frontier Colony roared like a wounded god. Ice shards blew sideways across the abandoned mining plain. Wind hammered against the metal rooftops until the entire settlement wailed like a dying engine. Amara Hale pushed her shoulder against a hatch, breath fogging in the frozen air. Her coat snapped behind her like a battle flag. She had lived alone in this dead sector for 3 years, repairing derelict machinery and sending coded advice to colonies that never replied. Humans called her stubborn. Aliens called her reckless. Amara simply called it survival. She stepped outside into the storm. Her boots crunched through a layer of ice that had not existed 10 minutes earlier. She aimed her lantern across the plains. Something massive lay half buried in the snow. 2 somethings. Her heart thudded once, hard. She moved closer. The storm wind shoved against her, but she pushed back, jaw clenched. She had not abandoned an entire life on Earth just to fear weather. The shapes grew clearer under the dancing lantern light. Great wings, frozen scales, long tails half encased in ice. Dragons, actual dragons. Space-born, ancient, colossal. Legend said the first ones breathed starfire before the dawn of the Galactic Empire. Others said they hunted battleships for sport. Amara stood before them, inches from a creature that could shatter moons. Both dragons were unconscious. Their chests barely rose. Their scales felt like frozen stone. A shiver ran through her that had nothing to do with the cold. "They are alive," she whispered. Her breath trembled. She dropped to her knees and checked the pulse of the nearest one. A faint vibration. Slow. Dying. Amara lifted her lantern and stared into the storm. No ships. No crash trails. No attackers. Just 2 ancient dragons lying broken in her backyard. A normal colonist would have run. A wise one would have reported it. Most humans would have trembled. But not Amara. Her mind ran through the math. Mass. Temperature loss. Breathing rate. Structural stress. She knew exactly how fast they would die without shelter. Amara stood, jaw set. "Not tonight," she said. With a strength she never admitted to anyone, she grabbed the first frost-covered wing and dragged. Her muscles screamed. Her gloves burned against the icy scales. The dragon weighed more than her entire house. She dragged anyway, because she was human, and humans helped things that needed helping, even when they were ancient monsters of myth. It took her 4 hours to pull both dragons inside her warehouse. She collapsed on the floor, panting, sweating despite the cold. Heat generators roared to life. Steam rose from the dragons' bodies as their icy shells melted away. For a moment they looked like sleeping mountains. Amara rested her head against a steel pillar. Her arms shook from exhaustion, but there was a quiet pride in her chest, a fire humans carried. Even at the edge of the galaxy, she closed her eyes. When she woke, dawn had barely begun to touch the horizon with a pale blue glow. She rubbed her eyes, stepped toward the warehouse door, and opened it with a tired groan. She froze. Dozens of armored soldiers stood outside. Their cloaks fluttered like black wings. Their visors burned with red scanning lines. Imperial elite guards. Behind them hovered 3 assault carriers and a tactical dreadnought marked with the sigil of a celestial empire. The commander stepped forward, helmet shaped like a dragon skull, voice amplified through a layered metallic growl. "Human woman," he declared, "you have taken what belongs to the Emperor." Amara's pulse hammered. She tasted metal in her mouth. "What are you talking about?" she asked. The commander raised a gauntlet hand. A hologram flared to life. It showed the very 2 dragons lying in her warehouse, alive, glowing, crowned with ancient halos. "These are the Emperor's ancestors," he said. "The prime dragons of First Star. They vanished 2 centuries ago." He stepped closer. "You will hand them over immediately." Amara felt something ignite inside her. Not fear, not submission. Anger. She straightened her spine. "They were dying," she said. "You left them to freeze out there." The commander's visor flared. "They were not yours to save." Amara felt the entire universe shift for a heartbeat. Humans had always been underestimated, dismissed, considered weak, soft, insignificant. But humans had survived Earth's collapse. Humans had built colonies from nothing but dust and stubbornness. Humans had out-engineered enemies with weapons older than recorded history. Humans had dragged ancient dragons out of Blizzard because they refused to let anything die alone. And now an empire expected her to surrender them after she had fought to keep them alive? No, Amara said quietly. The soldiers tensed. The commander tilted his head. Explain, he demanded. Amara stepped outside, boots sinking into the frost. The wind cut across her face, but she did not blink. You want them because they are powerful, she said. I saved them because they needed saving. She lifted her chin. That makes them mine. The commander's armored gauntlet hovered near his blade. Human, he warned, you claim ownership of the star's oldest sovereigns. Your arrogance is fatal. Amara felt the dragons shift behind her. A soft vibration rippled through the ground. The dragons were waking. A low, ancient rumble echoed from within the warehouse. The soldiers flinched. The commander looked past Amara, suddenly unsure. Amara did not move. She did not look back. She faced the soldiers alone, as any human would when cornered by a universe that believed it owned them. She whispered under her breath, "Wake up. I need you." A thunderous roar tore through the morning sky. Both dragons surged out of the warehouse, wings unfurling like storms-given flesh. Frost exploded across the ground as they rose. Their golden eyes blazed with cosmic fire. Every soldier stumbled backward. Amara stood between them and the dragons, breast steady, legs refusing to tremble. The larger dragon lowered its massive head beside her. Steam curled from its nostrils. Its voice rumbled through her bones. "Human, you saved us." The second dragon lowered its jaw close to her shoulder. "We protect what is ours." The commander staggered. What madness is this? Dragons do not speak to humans. Amara placed a hand on the dragon's warm scales. Her voice was calm, stronger than she felt. "They do now." The dragons roared again. Soldiers raised their rifles. Energy charged the air. The Emperor's dreadnought began to warm its engines. War trembled on the edge of ignition. Amara exhaled slowly. She had no weapons, no army, no allies, just two dragons who should have been dead, and the unbreakable, irrational, impossible courage that only humans carried. She whispered, "Stay behind me." The dragons obeyed. The commander stared in disbelief. "You command them?" Amara stepped forward. "No," she said. "They choose." The sky darkened. The earth shook. It snapped past Amara's ear and slammed into the snow behind her, exploding into a geyser of steam. The force vibrated through her ribs and rattled her teeth, but she did not flinch. The dragons moved behind her like mountains shifting their weight. Wings curled inward to shield her. Heat rippled from their scales, melting frost in wide circles around them. The commander screamed through his amplifier. Fire at will. Dozens of soldiers unleashed a storm of energy bolts. The sky turned into a cage of violent light. Amara felt the air sizzle. The smell of ionized metal hit her tongue. Her heartbeat pounded loud enough to drown the storm. The larger dragon inhaled. Its chest expanded like a rising sun. Then it unleashed a beam of pure starfire. The blast tore through the soldiers' formation. A wave of golden fire swallowed the snowfield, turning the air into incandescent chaos. The ground shook under Amara's boots. The heat slapped against her face with the force of furnace. Soldiers screamed and dug behind armored carriers. Shields flickered and strained, cracking like glass under the ancient power of a dragon's breath. The second dragon unfurled its wings. A shock wave rippled outward, tossing men aside as if the wind itself had become a weapon. Amara shielded her eyes and shouted above the deafening roar. "Stop! Stop! You are killing them." The larger dragon lowered its head. Its voice vibrated the bones in her skull. "They threaten our protector. Death is the price." Amara forced herself to stand firm, even as a storm of burning air swirled around her. "No," she said. Her voice trembled, but her resolve did not. "We do not slaughter. Not unless we have no choice." The dragon's eyes glowed like two molten suns studying her. Confusion, Curiosity, restraint. Finally it spoke. You saved us with mercy. We will honor your ways. The fire faded from its throat. The second dragon folded its wings slowly, reluctantly. The battlefield stilled. Steam drifted upward. Soldiers crawled from behind their shields, stunned, terrified, unsure if they had survived by chance or miracle. Amara stepped forward. Her breath puffed white in the cold air. You do not have to fight us, she said. Stand down. The commander's helmet snapped toward her, glowing visor narrowed. You speak as if you rule this field, human. He raised his blade. Black lightning crackled around it. You misunderstand the nature of your position. You harbor imperial property. You command imperial ancestors. You commit treason against the celestial emperor. He pointed at her, voice a metallic snarl. For this crime, the sentence is death. Amara felt something raw and electric explode in her chest. She stepped forward. One step, then another. Snow crunched under her boots like brittle bones. You think you can judge me? She asked. Her voice cut through the cold, sharp and steady. You let those dragons freeze out there. You abandoned beings older than your entire empire. You call that loyalty? You call that honor? The commander flinched, just barely. Amara continued. You came here expecting a helpless human. You expected someone who would kneel. You expected fear. She raised her chin. But I dragged 2 dying cosmic dragons out of a blizzard with nothing but my hands and a lantern. The soldiers murmured. Even the wind seemed to pause. You want to talk about loyalty? Amara said, I was loyal to life when you were loyal to power. The commander tightened his grip on his weapon. You are insolent. I am honest, she replied. He stepped forward, lowering the blade toward her throat. The dragon's growls rumbled like distant earthquakes. Amara did not step back. She held the commander's glare with her own. Kill me, she said, but you will never take them. Not while I breathe. Silence fell over the entire battlefield. It was a silence of fate, making a choice. The commander raised his blade, and a thunderous roar shook the sky. All heads snapped upward. A titanic shadow eclipsed the morning sun. Another dragon, older, vaster. Its wings stretched across the horizon like 2 cosmic storms. Its scales shimmered with violet starlight. Its eyes, cold, ancient, bottomless, locked onto Amara. The commander fell to his knees. Impossible. The Emperor's herald alive. The giant dragon descended with a sound like crumbling mountains. Wind blasted outward. Snow spiraled into a blizzard around them. The beast landed a dozen meters away, shaking the ground so violently Amara stumbled. The 2 dragons behind her bowed low, wings folded against their backs. The herald's gaze moved over them, then fixed on her. Slow, measured, hungry with curiosity. A voice like thunder spoken through time filled the air. Human Amara hail. Her blood froze. It knew her name. The herald lowered its head until its eye, larger than her entire body, hovered inches away. Amara felt heat lick across her skin. Her heartbeat thundered. Her instinct screamed at her to run, but she stood her ground. The dragon inhaled deeply, as if studying her scent. You touched our cold flesh. You gave us breath. You refused fear. Why? Amara swallowed. Her throat felt raw. Because someone had to, she said. The herald blinked and exhaled through its nostrils. The breath washed over her like warm fog. Humans. The dragon spoke the word with fascination. Soft shells. Short lives. Yet your spirit is as fierce as Nova Flame. Amara's voice wavered. Are you here to kill me? The herald leaned even closer. No, I am here to choose. A jolt of instinct shot up her spine. Choose what? The herald's wings spread slightly, sending ripples through the snow. Our new sovereign. Gasps erupted behind her. Even the commander sounded stunned. That is forbidden, he shouted. Only the Emperor is. The herald silenced him with a single growl, so loud the soldiers fell to their knees, clutching their helmets. The ancient dragon's attention returned to Amara. Long had we wandered. Long had we slept. Long had we watched the empire rot from within. A low rumble rolled across the plains. The one who saves a dragon's life becomes part of its soul. You save two. Amara's pulse thundered. That does not make me sovereign, she whispered. The herald lowered its massive head until its crown touched the frozen ground before her. A dragon's bow. It does now. Amara staggered back, shaking her head. I am just a mechanic. You are more, the herald said. You are what humans always are. Fragile, stubborn, unyielding, unbreakable. The commander's voice trembled with fury. She is human. She is not worthy. She is not chosen by the imperial bloodline. The herald's growl rolled like thunder. Bloodlines die. Courage does not. Then the giant dragon extended one enormous talon and drew a glowing circle of light around Amara, a ring of ancient power, a binding oath. The ground trembled under her feet. Energy hummed through the air like a storm ready to ignite. Human Amara, hail, the herald said. Do you accept the ancient bond of the first star? Amara stared at the glowing circle. Her breath shook. Her hands shook. The entire universe waited. She looked at the soldiers, the dreadnought, the two dragons behind her who trusted her. Then she whispered only 3 words. I accept it. The circle burst into golden light. The sky cracked with thunder. The dragons roared as one. The golden light erupted upward like a column of molten sunlight. It spiraled around Amara, lifting her hair, warming her skin, igniting the air with a sound like distant stars cracking apart. Her breath caught in her throat. For a moment she felt weightless, suspended, seen by something far older than galaxies. The dragons roared again, their voices shaking snow loose from the mountains beyond the colony. Amara's heart hammered so hard she thought her chest might burst. The light pierced the clouds. It carved symbols into the sky. Ancient runes glowing like fire in the dawn. Every soldier fell to their knees. Every rifle dropped to the ground. Every visor dimmed. And every eye turned to her. Amara hail, a human, a mechanic, a nobody, now glowing with the mark of the first star. The golden light dimmed slowly, drifting into her skin like warm dust. Amara stumbled, grabbing her coat to steady herself. The herald lowered its enormous head again. It is done. Amara blinked at her hands. Faint symbols glowed beneath her skin, like embers pulsing with life. What did you do to me? The herald's voice rumbled through the earth. You accepted our bond. Our souls and yours are now interwoven. Your strength will grow. Your senses will awaken. Your life will lengthen. Your enemies will tremble. Her breath hitched. I did not ask for power. You did not need to ask. You earned it. The commander lurched his feet. This is treason against the Empire. The Emperor alone commands the herald. Dragons bow to him, not to this human. Amara felt heat rise behind her. The 2 dragons she saved stepped forward, flanking her like colossal guardians. Steam rippled from their nostrils. Their wings spread to full width, bigger than gunships. The ground shook under their weight. The herald's eyes narrowed at the commander. Dragons bow to no one. Not the Emperor, not legions, not fear. The commander pointed his crackling blade at Amara, handshaking. The Emperor will destroy her if you do not stand down. She is chaos, a threat to the balance of the Empire. Amara stepped forward. No, she said quietly. I am a threat to the Empire because I saved something you abandoned. The commander's lips curled behind his helmet. You humans believe your compassion is strength. It is weakness. You're fragile little things wrapped in sentiment. Amara raised her chin. We built a home on a dead planet with nothing but tools and grit. We crossed galaxies without wings or fire. We survived everything the universe threw at us. She took another step, eyes blazing. We are fragile, yes, but we keep moving. And that is why you fear us. The herald's tail swept across the ground, carving a trench in the snow. Human resilience awakened the ancient bond. No Empire decree can break it. The commander snarled. Then the Emperor will. He signaled to the dreadnought with a flick of his wrist. Above them, the massive battleship rumbled. Lights burned across its hull. Cannons shifted, targeting the dragons. The hum of charging weapons vibrated the icy air. A wave of dread washed through Amara's stomach. "They will destroy you," she whispered to the herald. The ancient dragon's pupil shrank. "Let them try." The two dragons behind Amara growled, preparing to unleash starfire again. But Amara threw up her hands. "Wait!" Her voice rang across the frost like a bell. The dragons froze. Soldiers paused. Even the dreadnought's cannons hesitated. Amara stepped forward. Snow crunched loudly under her boots. "I do not want a war," she said, voice trembling with the weight of worlds. "I did not save you to burn a galaxy." The herald studied her with solemn interest. "War may come whether you desire it or not." "I know," Amara said, "but not today." Her pulse pounded like a drum. Her breath fogged and tight, rapid puffs. Her hands felt too warm from the dragon's light. The commander sneered. "You believe words can stop an empire?" "No," Amara said softly. "I believe choices can." She walked toward him. The dragons tensed but stayed still. The commander's visor flickered uneasily. "Stay back," he snapped. "Do not come closer." Amara kept walking. "Kill me and you will unleash the wrath of 3 dragons bound by ancient law," she said. "Let me live and you gain a chance to speak to your emperor before this becomes war." She stopped 2 steps from his blade. The commander trembled. "You expect me to spare you? I expect you to understand consequences." The wind whipped around them. The sky above hummed with charged energy. The dreadnought's cannons thrummed like angry hearts. Amara held the commander's gaze. "You can tell your emperor that I stole his dragons, or you can tell him that his ancestors chose someone else." Silence engulfed the snowfield. The commander's jaw tightened. Then slowly, reluctantly, he lowered his blade. Murmurs of shock rippled through the soldiers. The commander stepped back. "We will report this to the emperor," he growled. "He will decide your fate." Amara nodded. "Good." She motioned to the dragons. "We are leaving." The herald bowed its massive head. "Where do we fly, sovereign?" Amara swallowed hard. She felt small. She felt unprepared. She felt like a single spark facing a storm. Yet the power under her skin pulsed with warmth. Courage, responsibility, and humanity. "We fly somewhere the emperor cannot control," she said. "And somewhere I can understand what I have become." The dragons lowered themselves. Their scales shimmered like living constellations. Amara climbed onto the nearest dragon's back. The surface radiated heat, pulsing like a heartbeat beneath her palm. Her breath caught. She felt the dragon's enormous muscles coil beneath her. She felt its thoughts brush against her mind. Foreign, vast, terrifying yet gentle. The herald spread its wings. The soldiers stared in awe as the giant dragon roared. Snow blasted outward. Amara shouted above the storm of wind. "If the emperor wants me, he can come find me." With a powerful surge, the dragons leapt into sky. Wind ripped tears from her eyes. Cold slapped her face. The ground fell away in a blur of white and gray. The 3 dragons soared upward, faster than any human aircraft. The colony shrank beneath them until it became a pale smudge on the ice. The dreadnought tried to track them with its cannons, but the dragons were faster, older, angrier, and bound to her. Amara's heart surged a mix of fear and exhilaration as they burst through the clouds into open sky. The herald flew beside her, voice booming across the heights. "You have chosen a dangerous path, Amara hail." She nodded, gripping the dragon's ridges. "I know. You may unite us," the herald said, "or doom the galaxy." Amara exhaled slowly, wind whipping her hair behind her. "I am human," she said. "We have a talent for doing both." The dragons roared as one, and they flew toward unknown stars. The sky thinned into a dark ocean of stars as the dragons climbed higher. Winds howled past Amara's ears, whipping her hair behind her like a burning comet tail. Below her, the colony was nothing more than a fading frost circle on a half-dead world. Ahead of her stretched an endless universe filled with ancient echoes and unseen dangers. Amara tightened her grip around the ridge of golden scales beneath her hands. The dragon's body radiated a living heat, like a sun wrapped in flesh. Her heart thundered. Her bones vibrated from the sheer power beneath her. The herald soared beside her, colossal wings slicing through the thin atmosphere with the force of falling mountains. The other dragon flew close behind, its warm breath rising around Amara's legs like gentle smoke. She was riding creatures older than the Empire itself. Creatures who had crossed star systems while humanity still feared fire. Creatures who had chosen her. But choice was one thing. Understanding was another. Amara exhaled shakily. "What am I supposed to do now?" she whispered into the roaring wind. To her shock, the dragon beneath her answered, "You lead." Its voice echoed inside her head like distant thunder. Amara blinked hard. "You can speak in my mind? Our bond allows it." Warm pride filled the dragon's thoughts. "Your courage sings loudly. The cosmos hears it." Courage. She did not feel courageous. She felt like a woman who had made one impossible decision after another and now had nowhere left to stand. The herald flew closer, its vast wings blotting out half the stars. "The Emperor will hunt you." Amara swallowed. "I know." "He fears you." "I am a mechanic," she snapped. "A human who lived alone repairing mining equipment. Why would an emperor fear me?" The herald's massive tail swept behind it, like a comet trail of violet flames. Because the dragons of the first star have not chosen a sovereign in 10,000 years. And now they have chosen a human. Amara's pulse skipped. "I do not want your throne." The herald's voice rolled like awakened thunder. "Thrones do not care what you want. They only care what you become." The words sank into Amara's stomach like heavy stones. She looked back toward the distant world shrinking beneath them, a reminder of who she was before all of this. She whispered, "I am not your leader." The herald answered gently, "You will be." Amara bit the inside of her cheek. "What if I fail you?" The herald's enormous. I turned to her, an ocean of violet starlight, reflecting her tiny human form. "Then we fall together." Her breath caught. There was no mockery in that voice. No arrogance, no threat, just truth. The other dragon brushed its wing against hers, sending a warm ripple through her body. "You saved us when no empire did. You saw us as living beings, not symbols. You accepted pain and danger without hesitation." Its thoughts softened. "We choose because you already are the thing the galaxy needs." Amara looked down at her hands. The golden markings pulsed faintly beneath her skin, like tiny suns trapped in her veins. She did not feel chosen. She felt terrified, but humans had always carried fear beside courage. That was a strange strength of her species. She straightened her spine and whispered, "Where are we going?" The herald pointed its massive snout toward the dark expanse, to Charon's rift. Amara frowned. "I never heard of that." "Few have." The herald's wings extended fully, catching solar winds as they exited the planet's upper atmosphere. It is a place where dragons hide when empires rise, a sanctuary beyond the reach of war and law. Why go there? You must learn what you have become before the emperor reaches you. Amara felt a tremor of apprehension. What exactly am I becoming? The herald's voice grew quiet. Something the galaxy has long forgotten. Something humans once were. She frowned. Humans were never powerful. We scraped our way through history, just trying to survive. The herald's vast head tilted, studying her with ancient curiosity. Survival is the greatest power of all. Amara inhaled sharply. The cold stung her lungs. She thought of old Earth history, wars, struggles, collapses, revivals. Humanity never had perfect strength or intelligence, but they endured anyway. A stubborn, relentless flame. Her chest tightened. "I do not want to be a symbol," she whispered. "I do not want people worshiping me. I do not want to become something monstrous." The dragon beneath her rumbled softly. "Compassion prevents monstrosity. Courage prevents collapse. You hold both." Amara's throat tightened. The herald suddenly roared, tilting sharply. Amara gripped the dragon's ridge to keep from being thrown. "What is happening?" she shouted. The herald pointed its colossal wing toward a cluster of dark shapes emerging from the void. Fast, silent, predatory. Her blood chilled. Gunships, sleek black hulls, Imperial hunting craft. The commander wasted no time. The Emperor was already reaching for her. Amara's heart pounded wildly. How did they follow us? The herald growled. Ancient blood has its own scent. The Emperor knows we awaken. The gunships fanned out, forming a net of closing doom. Weapons warmed. Targeting lasers snapped on. The dragon beneath Amara snarled, starfire crackling between its jaws. No! Amara shouted. Do not kill them unless there is no other choice. The dragon hesitated. They will kill you. I know, she breathed. But if I start a war, I will become the very monster they fear. The herald roared in frustration. Then what do you command? Amara's mind spun. Think, Amara. Do not panic. Humans were not the strongest. They were not the fastest. But they were the best at making the impossible real. Her brain raced faster than her heartbeat. What weapons do these gunships use? She shouted. The herald answered instantly. Particle binders, gravity nets, atmospheric suppressors. Amara's eyes widened. Atmospheric suppressors. They use microgravity distortion to trap living beings, like dragons, by collapsing local pressure zones. Which meant, I have an idea, she said through gritted teeth, but you need to trust me. The dragons eyed her with electric tension. Speak. Fly straight into their net, she said. The dragons stared at her as if she had lost her mind. Into the trap? The herald's tone vibrated with disbelief. Yes, Amara breathed, and then fold your wings. The dragons recoiled. Fold them? We will fall. Exactly. Her voice crackled with adrenaline. And when you fall, the gravity field will snap and rebound. Their suppressors cannot handle the overload. It will disable every ship without killing anyone. The dragons exchanged a long, silent thought. One Amara could almost feel through their bond. Then the herald nodded slowly. Human logic, reckless, ingenious. The other dragon growled with excitement. Let us trust her. Amara's stomach nodded. Then go. The dragon surged forward, wings cutting huge arcs through the void. The gunships fired gravity nets, shimmering spheres of distortion. The air rippled. Space warped like liquid glass. Amara braced herself. The dragon shot straight into field. Every hair on her body lifted. The pressure crushed around her chest. Her vision blurred. The world felt like it was folding inward. Now, she screamed. And the dragons obeyed. They folded their wings. All three dragons suddenly dropped. Gravity snapped. The field imploded, then rebounded outward in a violent shockwave. Every gunship's engine flickered. Lights died. Weapons shut down. Ships spun helplessly, drifting like toys pushed by cosmic tides. Amara clung to the dragon's scales, heart thundering. They dove downward for several brutal seconds. Then the herald snapped its wings open. The other dragons followed. They soared upward again, leaving the disabled fleet shrinking behind them. Amara gasped, adrenaline burning through her veins like liquid fire. The herald's voice rumbled with awe. Only humans think of falling as a weapon. Amara exhaled shakily. We do what we can with what we have. The dragon beneath her growled happily. You are strange, Amara hail. She smiled faintly through exhaustion. I get that a lot. The herald pointed its massive snout toward a distant, swirling violet nebula. Karen's rift awaits. Amara tightened her grip. She felt fear. She felt responsibility. She felt the weight of galaxies. But above all, she felt ready. Dawn broke slowly over the shattered plains, washing the ruins of the battlefield in pale gold. The storm had passed hours earlier, yet echoes of it lingered in the air, ozone, smoke, and a faint, metallic taste of destruction. Cracked stone pillars jutted from the ground like ribs of a long-dead titan. Pools of molten earth still glowed faintly. The sky itself still shimmered with the last residue of cosmic fire. Lyra stood among the devastation, her breath visible in the cold morning air. Her clothing hung torn and scorched. Her palms burned. Her muscles trembled with exhaustion. Yet she remained on her feet. She had survived. Humanity had survived. The two ancient dragons, once weakened, once hunted, now stood tall beside her. Their scales burned with fresh cosmic brilliance. Their breaths shimmered like nebulas. Their wings cast vast shadows over the ruined valley. And kneeling before them, bound in shimmering energy-forward chains, was Emperor Kalian himself. The once mythic ruler of the celestial dominion no longer looked like an untouchable god. His armor was cracked. His crown lay broken nearby. The purple flame in his eyes sputtered like a dying star. Lyra approached him slowly. Each step felt heavy, as if the universe pressed its weight on her shoulders. But her chin remained high. She had come too far to falter now. Kalian glared at her, hatred simmering in his gaze. "You think you have one human?" His voice rasped, strained but defiant. "Your kind is weak, fragile, insignificant. This victory means nothing." Lyra knelt, lowering herself until their eyes aligned. "Weak?" she whispered. Her voice held no malice. Only truth. Only fire. "You fear me. You feared what humans become when we refuse to break. That is why you came with an army. That is why you tried to burn my home. You knew that if we ever stood up, you could not control us." Kalian trembled, not with fear, Lyra realized, but with disbelief. "How did you do it?" he muttered. "No species defies a dominion. None escapes my decree. None survives a direct assault." Lyra touched the scar on her arm, the burn she earned while protecting the dragons. She let the cold morning wind sting her wounds. She let the weight of everything she endured settle in her chest. Then she answered, "Because humans are stubborn," she said. "Because we protect what others would destroy. And because strength is not born from power. It is born from purpose." Behind her, the dragons lowered their massive heads in agreement. The older dragon, Abstraction, rumbled, his voice echoing through the valley. "She carries the fire of ancient heroes," he said. "Her people shape worlds not through conquest, but through relentless will. Kalian, you misjudged the species. You misjudged her." Kalian looked at Lyra as though seeing her for the first time. "You risked everything," he whispered, "for two dying beasts you did not know." "No," Lyra said softly. "Not for beasts. For lives. For souls who were hunted, broken, and left to freeze in the void." The younger dragon, Zephyrian, bowed his head deeply. "You saved us," he said. "And because you saved us, the future has changed." A small breeze rolled across the valley. Lyra felt it brush her face gently, carrying the cool scent of ash and rebirth. She exhaled slowly. The battle was over, but the end had not yet been spoken. Lyra rose to her feet and faced the dragons. "What happens now?" she asked. Abstraction's wings flared open, scattering stardust like embers across the air. "We will leave this world," he said. "The Dominion will fall into chaos before it rises again. Its armies will scatter. Its world will question everything." Zephyrian nodded, eyes glowing with a youthful, renewed light. "And we will not forget the human who restored the balance." Lyra swallowed. Her throat tightened with emotion. "You could stay," she said. "You could rebuild here. Humans would welcome you." Abstraction smiled, a slow, ancient smile. "You have a noble heart, Lyra Vale," he said. "But our destiny lies beyond this star. The universe holds wounds older than empires. We must heal what was broken long ago." Lyra nodded slowly. She had expected this, but knowing did not make it easier. Zephyrian stepped closer, lowering one wing, so she could place her hand against warm cosmic scales. "Wherever we go," he said, "your name will be carried across the galaxies." Lyra laughed softly. "I am not sure the universe cares about one woman in a ruined farmhouse." But Zephyrian shook his great head. "The universe cares," he said gently, "because you did what beings far greater than you refused to do. You offered kindness where others offered death. You stood when armies tried to crush you, and you saved the last of an ancient lineage." Lyra felt heat bloom behind her eyes. She blinked it away. The dragons turned toward the horizon, their forms glowing brighter with every passing second. But before they took flight, Abstraction looked back at Kalian. "You will not die," he declared. Your punishment is to live and witness what you try to destroy. Kalian's jaw clenched. You expect me to accept defeat? He snarled. No, Abstraction replied. We expect you to learn. The dragons spread their wings. Cosmic energy pulsed down their spines. The air around them crackled and shimmered, bending under the force of their awakening. Lyra shielded her eyes as the dragons lifted into the sky. Winds howled. Stone fragments flew. The world vibrated under the power of their ascent. Abstraction's voice thundered one final time. Farewell, Lyra Vale. Your courage reshaped fate. And then they tore through the clouds like living comets, streaking toward the upper atmosphere, leaving twin trails of silver flame. Lyra watched them vanish into the morning light. The valley grew quiet. Too quiet. Only Kalian's ragged breathing broke the silence. Lyra turned back toward him, noticing how the first rays of sunrise painted the fallen emperor in gold and shadow. He glared up at her. Well, he spat. Will you kill me? Earn your legend? Claim your hollow victory? Lyra shook her head. No, I will not kill an unarmed man. That mercy will cost you, Kalian snarled. Lyra stepped closer. Mercy is not weakness, she said. Cruelty is weakness. Fear is weakness. And you have lived in fear your entire life. Kalian froze. Her words pierced him deeper than any blade. Lyra reached down and picked up his broken crown. Its jagged edges glittered with starlight. You do not need this, she said. Rule through fear or choose another path. Your empire will not follow you unless you change. She placed the shattered crown beside him. Stand up when you are ready, she said. Walk your own path, or remain here until you understand why you fell. Then she turned away. The valley stretched quietly around her. Her home lay in ruins beyond the hill. The world she knew had been carved open and remade. But inside her chest, a fierce calm blossomed. The dragons were safe. Humanity had proven its strength, and she had confronted an emperor without bending. Lyra walked toward the distant sunlight. She did not look back. For the first time since the night she found the frozen dragons at her field, the horizon felt open, filled with 1,000 possibilities. The universe had tried to crush her. Instead, she had shown it what a human could become. As she reached the crest of the hill, wind tugged gently at her hair. She inhaled deeply. The air tasted like smoke and hope. Lyra smiled. Her journey had begun with 2 dying dragons on her doorstep. And now, with the stars shifting, with the Dominion trembling, with an emperor humbled, the story of Lyra Vale was only just becoming legend. A legend whispered across worlds. A legend carried by cosmic wings. A legend carved not from power, but from humanity. And so the tale of the woman who took in 2 frozen space dragons came to its graceful end. But the universe would remember, forever,